Well, we're back right here in the studio, and I hope everyone out there is having a great evening, wherever you may be tuning in. Right now, we're going to get to our guest that we have right here in the studio. We have with us Muna Al-Hajjaj, and Muna is the author of the book Dir Jawahir. Muna, welcome to our program, Hala Kuwait.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here, and it's good to see you, Tariq.
It's a pleasure to have you right here on the program. And Muna, April 23rd is World Reading Day. So tell our audience a little bit about why reading is very important.
Well, first of all, reading to me, of course, it's my passion. And it's really, if you think about the brain itself as being a muscle, it's just like our bodies, we need to exercise, and therefore our brains are exercised through reading. And by exercising, we improve our memory, our focus, our concentration. And basically, reading is also a form of getting away from the routine. I'm sure the monotony of the life, and so reading takes you to a whole new world. And from it, it's your own imagination. You know, through this imagination, you're also stimulating your creativity, your innovation. And that's why it's endless, and of course it's a stress reducer too. So if you want to relax, the right thing to do is to read.
And Muna, what do you mean by reading? Because reading nowadays is different than reading what it was before. Am I correct in that, or am I wrong? I mean,
well,
people used to more read like hard copy books.
Yeah.
And now it seems like everything is online, or magazines. Here they prefer magazines with a lot of photos. Or tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I think reading is a sort of trend. It lost for a while, and now it's back. And if you notice, there's quite a few bookstores in Kuwait. There are more writers that are in Kuwait, and I think it's coming back. Whether it's electronic or it's paperback. I prefer the paperback, but I do think it's a good idea to encourage any form of reading, whether it was paperback or electronic. And I think nowadays the younger generation is finding reading very stimulating, and which is an excellent way to educate children and to educate yourself. It's a great way to learn about other societies, or even just the imagination of the writer himself.
Yeah, it takes you away
to another world.
Like even a stress relief
exactly.
for a short time to read a book and so forth.
Exactly.
Muna, you are of course the author of a book entitled Dir Jawahir.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit about this book, I think which you published I think about 2 years ago or so? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Dir Jawahir is a book that I wrote for my daughter. It's a self-development book. It's actually to teenagers. It talks about my life experience and the things I would like to teach. Jawahir is my daughter, so I'm trying to teach her my life experience. What are the things that I faced in life that I hope and she will be able to learn and improve on whatever things, that mistakes that I might have done, maybe she can do better in her life. And I
like
think
a self-guide kind
a self-guide, and targeting mostly teenagers. And it's actually for everybody. It's a family book. Teachers, I address a lot of messages for teachers that it's important to know that children are like sponges, and so it's important how you talk to the children and what you say to them.
Okay, and have you always been interested in writing, reading since you were young?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the more I read, the more my writing skills improved, which is another plus to reading, which is encouraged.
And Muna, books and children, in your experience, you're a mother of 2 lovely children, and how do you feel that reading helps children develop?
Well, we have something called story time every night with Jawahir and Majid, and basically story time, many studies have shown that the more you read to children, the more they grow up to be very successful, smarter children, their vocabulary is improved and their imagination is improved, they become more creative and innovative, and I think that's why I encourage all mothers that they should always read every night for the children.
And do you feel yourself and maybe people you know electronic books, or do they prefer paperback, or what's the trend have you noticed lately?
Well,
I think more people towards electronic things now, huh?
Yeah, it is something that we can't run away from.
Can't deny that. That's
yes, absolutely.
the way it is now.
Exactly. In my case, I did think that I might turn to that electronics. But I missed the part where I actually can hold on to a book and flip the pages. And there's something special when you walk into a library that you see all these books. In fact, when you go to someone's house and you see all the books, you understand that person better by looking through their library, and you can tell more about their character. If it's an electronic book, it sort of loses the connection, the bond you have. And if I enjoy the book and I'd like you to borrow it because you're gonna enjoy it, I don't think I can give you the iPad. I'd have to give you the book itself. So I think a book is a much nicer experience. However, for children, they are very much into electronics now. So the best thing we can do is not fight it and give them the opportunity to read.
At least they're reading.
Exactly. As long as they're going to read, it's an e-book, which is fine. They're going to improve their vocabulary too, and they'll be creative and so forth, and we'll get to benefit from it.
And as you said, there's a lot of bookstores now opening in Kuwait and so forth. We also have the National Library too.
Exactly,
So
yes.
things are expanding and maybe getting better, correct?
Absolutely, and I think I visited one of the local bookstores lately, and I noticed there were a lot of young Kuwaiti writers. And so there is a trend for writing too, and I'm sure that includes reading too, because people are buying the books, which is excellent.
But I've noticed the trend, Muna, is more towards writing English books, correct?
That's true. Unfortunately, I mean, there is Arabic writers, but when it comes to children's books, there aren't enough Arabic writers.
Why is that, in your opinion?
I'm not sure. We have so much material, Arabic stories. There are endless stories that we can write. And I think sometimes we just need to study it better and find out why there aren't any Arabic children's book. I'd like to encourage any writer to be able to write that. In my case, it was in English. I sold it on Amazon.com, so I wanted to be an international book, so it was written in English. But I do think that next time around, I'd love to write it in Arabic. Hopefully.
Excellent. That'll be hopefully the next project. And right now, we're going to take a look at this short segment about why kids like reading. And it was done by Muna's niece, Noura Al-Hassawi, a student at the Universal American School, my old alma mater. So let's go take a look at this short report and then be back with our guest, Al-Hajjaj. Stay tuned.
Because it allows me to ignore the stresses of my life and enter my imagination where anything is possible.
I love reading because it's all of the words in my head. Then I feel like I'm actually in the story. So that's the fun part about reading.
I like to read because I escape reality. I can go to places I cannot physically go to in real life. Only in here and here.
Because the imagination in my mind can spread around, so then I have lots of ideas for new stories when I grow up, because I really want to be an author and I want to get ideas.
Read books about personality and human nature because they help us understand others.
Because reading, it makes you smarter, and you can read all different kinds of books, and you can learn about that book, and you can see what happens in the book,
feel like I'm living in the book.
I'm not sure why I like to read books. I've always read books since I was just a little boy. I started reading some things in like Tarzan and all those kinds of books, and then my mom got me books to read, you know, Book of the Month Club. And then I started reading things like romance novels and science fiction and horror stories. And now, as I've gotten older, I find that I like to read nonfiction about things about history and people and events. And there you go.
Reading books where people are talking about themselves, like autobiographies, and I also like fiction books, and Rachel Renee Russo, she just writes really good books.
Halal, because it empowers women and teaches them how to be strong and implement.
My favorite books to read are Goosebumps, because they're interesting because they build a lot of suspense. I prefer reading to movies because books have they give you a different idea towards a story that you can't find in movies.
Why is reading interesting? Reading is interesting because it just puts you in different worlds and it makes you escape reality, whether it's good or bad, and it just makes you feel like you're in a different place, and you meet so many people that through books that are fictional or even non-fictional, and you never thought you'd know that these kind of people existed. And just the writing, I enjoy the writing, and I enjoy different book styles, and I enjoy covers, and I enjoy art through books. And it just enhances your language, and just reading books is an amazing pastime, so beneficial. And honestly, I don't think I would be the person I am without the books I've been reading. So yeah, books are amazing.
Well, we'd like to thank Noor Al-Hassawi for that great segment on why kids like reading, and it was really nice to see the youngsters at Universal American School working on that report and also enjoying reading, Muna.
Absolutely. All their answers were exactly the things that we would like to hear, and I'm glad they all expressed their love for reading.
Yeah, you could see they were so passionate and they
Absolutely.
loved reading, and we love to see that in the young people. And Muna, you know, April 23rd is World Reading Day. Any activities going on in Kuwait to mark this day?
Well, I do know that Al-Athar has recently opened the Kuwait books. They're going to open a branch inside Al-Athar,
Great.
and I believe that that day will be the opening. So I encourage everyone to go, because that's one nice place to buy books for.
It is an amazing place. So many great cultural activities taking place there also. And as we're coming towards the end of our interview this evening, Muna, any last words or comments for the audience watching Hela Kuwait tonight?
Just keep on reading, and Tariq, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I wish everyone a good evening.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program, and we appreciate your time with us. We were speaking to Muna Al-Hajjaj, and Muna is the author of the book Dear Jawahir, and we do appreciate her time with us right here on the program.